Evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama, or Genesis Baptist Church. It is September the 22nd, 2025. Tonight we'll be in Proverbs chapter 25. Solomon wrote most of all these Proverbs. Hezekiah, who was a king much later, he copied out more of of Solomon's cool sayings. Neat stuff, bits of wisdom that he gave. We'll be talking about that in just a few minutes here. Come join us for the holidays if you don't have family. If you do, bring your family here. A lot to do here for all ages. We're closed on Monday, but we had 3 families come in today. Anyway, how'd you guys like the tour? Okay. Yeah, there's lots to do around here. Did any of your kids try the big swing off the top of the tower? You did? And you did? And you're 9? Yeah, awesome. Okay, lots to do here. Church group from Birmingham left yesterday. They had a blast, all kinds of stuff to do. They went swimming in the lake. We have 17 lakes and ponds to swim in. Let's see, here we go, right here. I want to get to, perfect place to bring family reunion, conferences, revivals, retreats, church camps, scout camps, family vacations. Okay, come down. Perfect place to learn some real science. See, the earth is about 6,000 years old. It is not billions of years old. Dinosaurs always lived with man. They did not live millions of years ago. That is baloney. The geologic column does not exist anywhere. How can the layers of dirt be different ages? Are they coming from outer space? You guys ever stop and think what you've been taught? You've been lied to. There is no geologic column. Grand Canyon's a washed out dam that formed in a few weeks, not millions of years. Evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the world. You can learn how to defend your faith against those brainwashed people who believe in evolution. Okay, come on down. Let's see, I want to go to slide number 1, 2, 5, 3. Okay. These also are the Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied out. Hezekiah was king long after Solomon, and he did some dumb things, okay? You can study just the life of Hezekiah, one of the kings. He messed up, but hey, God used him in a great way, okay? It's the glory of God to conceal a matter. It's the honor of kings to search out a matter. Conceal a thing, search out a matter. Let's see. This business of God hiding things. He said, thou hast heard, see all this, and will you not declare? I have showed thee new things from this time, even hidden things, and thou didst not know them. The Bible talks about hidden things 6 different times. Be a good, cool study to go on your own, okay? Hidden thing. Take away the dross from the silver, and there shall come forth a vessel for the finer. We talked about this before. When they melt silver down, the impurities float to the top because silver is heavier. That's called the dross, and they keep scraping it off. Keep scraping and scraping. I've heard what they would do. They would keep scraping until they could see their reflection. Then they knew the silver was pure. Now, God's trying to get rid of all the dross in our life until he sees his reflection in us. How many of you think he's probably got a little more scraping to do? Yeah. Okay. There shall come forth a vessel for the finer. Dross is mentioned in the Bible 7 times, or 8 times, the word dross, okay? Thou puttest away all the wicked of the earth like dross. You scrape it off, throw it away. It's useless. Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross. You guys they become useless, okay? Silver ore is mined and heated to about 1,700 degrees. So the silver melts and sinks while the impurity, the dross, floats to be skimmed off the top. And they're constantly scraping off the dross, and maybe God's putting you through the fire to get some impurities out of your life. Okay, take away the wicked from before the king, and his throne shall be established in righteousness. The analogy here is, just like you take away the dross and it makes the silver pure, sometimes you got to get rid of certain people in your kingdom. Best just to get rid of them. Some of you got friends in your life you really ought to get rid of. Sorry, can't be my friend anymore. You know, founding fathers of this country knew the importance of capital punishment and a prison system. In my book here, I thought I had it. It's about the prison system, the one that I wrote called The Kennel. If you can find that there, Joseph. It's a necessary component in a just society. They incorporated the death penalty in the early days of our Constitution. With the first Congress, made the U.S. Marshals responsible for carrying out federal executions, indicating their anticipation. They said, we're going to need this. Some people don't learn any other way. The first federal execution, Thomas Byrd, 1790, for murder and mutiny, carried out by hanging. Understanding of punishment was heavily influenced by English common law, particularly the writings of Sir Edward Coke, which describes severe penalties for treason, including drawing and quartering. That's where they would pull them 4 different directions and cut the people in 4 quarters while they're alive. They don't do that anymore. Okay. They later called that cruel and unusual in the 8th Amendment. So they still referred to executions like hanging or shooting. Stoning was a method of execution in the Bible. Stoning to death was prescribed in the Old Testament law as a punishment for certain sins. Sins that caused irreparable damage. You did something to somebody and the damage cannot be fixed. Irreparable damage. Public execution, like Jesus being crucified. This one guy was about to be hung one time, and this guy in the crowd said, "Do you think this is going to stop crime?" I said, "It will for him." That's for sure. It gives the victims closure. If somebody comes into your house to rob you, murders your wife and children, you don't want to see him in prison for the next 20 years and pay for his groceries. You want to see him hung, or stoned, or shot, or something, electrocuted. It makes others afraid to do that crime. It's a lot cheaper than put in prison for 20 years. When I was in prison, I wrote my book, The Kennel. Did you find it, Joseph?
Yeah, I got it.
The Kennel. Okay. It's about the prison system. Under God's law, you fine them, beat them, or kill them. No prison time. I asked 1,000 guys while I was writing my book. I did a survey. I said, if you committed a crime and you were found guilty, and there's no question you're guilty, and the judge gave you an option, you want 5 years in prison or 20 lashes, which would you take? All but one said, I'd take the lashes. The other one said, I got nowhere to live anyway, I might as well stay in jail. Okay. For certain crimes, they should be executed, fine them, beat them, or kill them. In the Bible, you steal my sheep, you pay back 4 sheep. Everybody goes home happy. Come steal another one. I got 4 this time. It just works. God's law is perfect. Problem is, in our American law, the congressmen and senators are allowed to own stock in the prison system. That's the problem, okay? We're headed for end. Oh, and by the way, I forgot. We now have coffee cups with my chart on there, the end times chart. Coffee cup for $12 online with Dinosaur Adventureland logo. How many different ones do we have, Joseph? I got a whole bunch of them here.
2, 4, 6. It's like 12 different designs.
12 different designs. I survived the tour. Not everybody does. Are they in the bookstore now, I think, aren't they?
I think some of them are.
Some of them are, yeah.
Put the link in the chat.
Okay. In the Bible, the stoning was applied to people who commit murder, idolatry, approaching near the Mount Sinai, necromancy or the occult, blaspheming the name of the Lord, probably with punishment for various types of sexual sins, adultery, etc. Okay. Mosaic law said before anyone could be put to death, there had to be a trial, had to be at least 2 witnesses, and they had to testify. On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, a person is to be put to death, but not one is to be put to death on the testimony of only 1 witness, Deuteronomy 17. The witnesses must be the first one to put the person to death. So if 2 people witnessed against somebody for a crime, they had to throw the first stone. You sure you want to testify? You sure you saw what you said you saw? Okay. In John chapter 8, the Pharisees tried to entrap Jesus by granting approval for stoning a woman caught in the act of adultery. They brought him in. They said, this woman was caught in the act. Okay, well, why is the man not here? I believe it takes 2, doesn't it? Yeah. The law prescribed death penalty for both guilty parties. Maybe the man was one of their, club members, lodge members, or something like that. Jesus' response was interesting. The woman was clearly guilty, but Jesus understood the duplicity of his enemies. He knew what they were trying to do. Instead of giving them a direct answer, Jesus turned to the woman and said, he that's without sin, cast the first stone. By this, he's asking for witnesses to step forward. The witnesses bound by an oath were the ones to cast the first stones. He also shows his compassionate heart toward the sinner. Look, if you've committed dumb things in your life, God can still forgive you. It's not over. Hang in there. But you got to say, I'm sorry, Lord, I'm wrong. Forgive me. Here's the story. Early in the morning, he came again to the temple. And the people came to him, and he sat down and he taught them. He's busy teaching the Bible. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. When they set her in the midst, they said, Master, This woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Okay, again, guys, where's the man? Okay. Now, Moses in the law said we should stone him. What do you say? But this they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. They're not looking for truth out of Jesus. They just want to accuse him. He stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground, like he didn't hear him. I've often wondered what he wrote. I bet they're all watching him write in the dust, and he's probably writing the addresses, or phone numbers. They didn't have phones back then, something, or names. And they're thinking, oh no, he knows. Oh no. And when they continued asking, he lifted up himself. I love that. He lifted up himself and said, he that's without sin among you, cast the first stone. And again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. When they that heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, beginning at the eldest. The longer you live, the more you realize you're a sinner. You're guilty too, okay? When he lifted up himself, Jesus was alone, he lifted up himself and said to the woman, hath no man accused thee? She said, no man, Lord. Jesus said, neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. There's a song in our songbook with that title. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Put not thy forth in the presence of the king. Don't try to make yourself look like hot stuff before the leaders, okay? And stand not in the place of great men. For better it is that it be said unto thee, come up hither, than that thou shouldst be put lower in the presence of the princes. When you go to a feast, don't sit at the head table. Go sit at the lowest you can find. And I did this all the time when I traveled and preached, going to someplace, a church meeting. They got a big dinner going on. I didn't go sit at the head table unless they called me up there. I'm the guest speaker, yes, but I'm nobody special. I'd sit down at the lowest place. Hey, Hovind, get up here. Come on, we got a spot for you. Okay, then you go. He that loveth transgression loveth strife. He that exalteth himself, exalteth his gate. Some people just exalt themselves. They want to be sure everybody notices. Hey, look how smart I am. Look how good I am. Look how much money I gave. Offering plate comes by. They hold out the money and hold it up to count it. Let's say 500, 600, 900. Yeah, that'll do. Right? Make sure everybody sees. Yeah. Hypocrite, okay? Everyone that exalts himself shall be abased. Every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God bringeth into captivity every thought. Yeah. The Bible talks about exalting yourself. Anyway, this happened to Lucifer in the Bible, in the book of Isaiah. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? This would be the devil, son of the morning. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. See, the devil wants God's job, and he wants trying to exalt himself. He said, yet thou shalt be brought down to the pit, to hell, to the sides of the pit. Ezekiel 28, okay? Son of man, say to the prince of Tyrus. Now, this is interesting. If you read Ezekiel 28, there's two passages. One of them is to the prince of Tyrus. The other one is to the king of Tyrus, and they're different. One of them is Satan. There was a real prince of Tyrus, okay? The heart was lifted up. Thou said, I'm a god. I sit in the seat of God. Yeah, you think you're hot stuff, don't you, prince? Okay? With thy wisdom and thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches. Thou hast gotten thee gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, you have increased your riches, and your heart was lifted up. People that have a lot of money tend to get a proud, cocky attitude, don't they? No, not always. It just kind of usually comes that way, okay? Then he said to the king of Tyrus, this is talking about Satan, thus saith the Lord, thou sealest up the psalm full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Well, that can't be the prince of Tyrus. He was not in the Garden of Eden. That was gone by the time the flood hit it, okay? Every precious stone was thy covering. See, and the pipes were prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Here we learn that Lucifer was created. Everything was created in 6 days. It says in Exodus 20, Lucifer was a created being, probably created on day 1 or 2 with all the angels. Thou art the anointed cherub. He said, thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. Let's skip down to verse 16. Let's see. Thou hast said, God said, I will cast thee forth as profane. I will destroy thee. The heart was lifted up because of thy beauty, because of thy wisdom. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled the sanctuaries, therefore will I bring forth a fire. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes. Well, God's telling him what he's going to do, okay? Go not hastily to strive. Don't be in a hurry to start a fight. How many have seen those boxing matches where before they're standing nose to nose, trying to stare each other down? One guy's really cocky. Then later in the match, he ends up flat on the ground. Karma, I love that, okay? Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another. Look, you got a disagreement with your neighbor? Go talk to your neighbor. Don't spread rumors all around the county like they do around here about me. It's crazy around here. Small town, crazy. Let's see. Lest he that heareth it put thee to shame, and thine infamy turn not away. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. A strange verse. Apples of gold. A lot of people have taken this to make movies or make books about it. Like apples of gold in pictures of silver. Are your words appropriate? Are your words pleasant? Are they pure? Are they lovely? Are they encouraging? Are they soft? Notice it spells apples. Okay, pretty cool. I don't know who did that, but I like it's good. Apples of gold and pictures of silver. As an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, so is a wise reprover upon an obedient ear. If you're willing to listen and somebody comes up and reproves you, say you shouldn't do that, you should listen and learn. Some people, you can't correct them. They get angry instead. As soon as you tell them you're doing wrong, they get mad. All you can do is leave them alone. As the cold of snow in the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that send him. It's nice when you send somebody on to send a message or to do a job, and they do it correctly. It's like refreshing. Cold of snow in the time of harvest, okay? Whoso boasteth himself of a false gift is like clouds and wind without rain. By long forbearing, just be patient, is a prince persuaded. Look, you want to persuade the leader to, this prince would be the equivalent of our congressman or senator or president. Oh, I'm so sorry here. You want to get them to do something? Got to shut it off. Got to see my daughter's wedding on America's Funniest Home Video. If you haven't seen that, type in Kent Hovind's daughter's wedding. Okay, I'll shut it off. Sorry about that. There. Okay. By long forbearing is a prince persuaded. Just be patient. Somebody wrote a comment on that one. The phrase long forbearing refers to patient submission and expectation, which can pacify a ruler whose anger might otherwise be inflamed. If you just oppose the ruler, he's going to get angry. You just patiently submit. Yes, sir, I will do what you ask. Would like to talk to you about that later if it's okay. And so you can persuade a judge or prince to consider a case favorably or to adopt a desired course of action. The soft tongue symbolizes gentle, humble, respectful speech, which is described as having the power to overcome even the hardest resistance, like breaking a bone. Let's see. There are two examples in the Bible. King David appealed to King Saul, which moved Saul to repentance. And Abigail, his gentle words prevented David from taking vengeance on her husband's Nabal. Abigail had a weird screwball husband named Nabal. David was going to go kill him. And she said, oh, honey, please don't. She ended up later marrying David after her husband did die of his own accord. You can read the story in 1 Samuel 25. Hast thou found honey? Eat so much as is sufficient for thee. When you like good things, like, Reese's ice cream, don't do too much, okay? You found honey, you like it, okay, take what's sufficient, lest thou be filled therewith and vomited. Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest he be weary of thee and so hate thee. Look, so this is a lesson Solomon's teaching his son. Son, don't go hang out with your neighbor all the time. He might be sick of you coming over all the time. He might actually have things to do. You ever had anybody come over and just talk, and you can't get rid of them? You had that happen before? Like, don't you have anything to do or anywhere to go? I do. Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house. A man that beareth false witness against his neighbor is a maul, a sword, and a sharp arrow. The Bible has a lot to say about don't bear false witness. It's one of the 10 commandments. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. A broken tooth and a foot out of joint it's irritating. It just nagging pain. That's what it's like to have confidence in somebody that you know is not going to be true. You give them a message and they're not going to finish. They're not delivery. Give them a message to deliver, and they don't do it. It's nuisance. It's irritating. As he that taketh away a garment in cold weather, and as vinegar upon nitre, so is he that singeth songs to a heavy heart. The phrase vinegar upon nitre, metaphor used in Proverbs to illustrate an action that is both unwise and harmful. It refers to the chemical reaction you get when you put vinegar, which is an acid, and pour it onto nitre, which in this context is understood to be natron, a natural alkali, composed primarily of carbonate of soda found in ancient Egypt. Don't put the two together. This reaction produces effervescence, irritation, and ultimately destroys the useful properties of the nitre. The comparison emphasizes that just as this mixture is counterproductive and damaging, so too is singing joyful songs to someone with a heavy heart. Look, when someone's mourning and got a heavy heart, it's not time to go and start joking with them. That's the time to put your arm around them and say, can I pray with you? Can I help you? Learn to be appropriate, okay? We did that. If thine enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat. If he be thirsty, give him water. You treat your enemies nice, you might turn them into your friends. Someone said the best way to get rid of an enemy is to make him your friend. Thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head. Now we think that's a bad thing. No, in those days they would have a pan, go to your neighbor, say, my fire went out, can I borrow some coals to start my fire again? And they would put coals, you're required to give them some coals. Well, they would heap the coals on there, give him plenty so he can get his own fire going again. That's, as I understand what that illustration means. The north wind driveth away rain, so doth an angry countenance a backbiting tongue. Sometimes you just got to look at people. I've had enough. Hard to tell the difference there. Let's see. An angry countenance. It's better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. He's given his son advice. Said it 3 different times in Proverbs. It's better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman and with a contentious and angry woman. Son, don't marry one that loves to argue or gets angry easily. If you do, build yourself a room up in the corner of your house to go retreat to, okay? As cold waters to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far country. Some of you could give cold water to somebody tonight. You could go home and write a text to somebody. You could write a letter to somebody, just make a phone call. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? I'm praying for you. Just good news. Encourage somebody. A righteous man falling down before the wicked is like a troubled fountain and a corrupt spring. It's not good to eat much honey. So for men to search their own glory is not glory. Don't go around trying to figure out how important you are. Just let somebody else do that. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. In those days, you had to have a wall around your city to protect yourself. Today, it wouldn't do any good with airplanes, of course, you know. But if you can't control your own spirit, you might as well don't have a wall around your city. Do you have control of your own attitude? Can you respond how you want? Can you be sweet and gentle even when they're screaming and yelling in your face? Tough call. Anyway, those are the Proverbs that Hezekiah wrote out, that King Solomon had said. Okay? Questions or comments here, brother? I'm a huge fan. How big are you? I love studying what you talk about and use it for apologetics. Thank you for what you do. How can I gain this? One can gain this knowledge. Well, you read about 10,000 books like I've done in my lifetime, and you have it. There's no shortcut. How do I contact Dr. Hovind directly? 855 Big Dino, extension 3.
I just gave somebody a number when the phone rang. It's probably them.
Probably them, okay. I'll turn it back on in a little while. Let's see. What age are children accountable for their salvation? I don't think there's a specific age. My daughter was 3, and she kept asking, Daddy, can I get saved? Daddy, I really want to get Jesus in my heart. I want to be sure I'm going to heaven. 3 years old. Okay. Some people are 5, 6, 7. I don't know. I don't think there's a number you can put on it. It's different with each child. Long-time listener, first-time commenter. Well, thank you for the comment. Not by might nor power, by my spirit. What is the meaning of this verse? It says, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. God's the one who gets the victory. It doesn't matter how strong you are. If God's not on your side, you probably won't win. I think that's... Now listen, anytime you don't know what a verse means, I highly recommend learn to use commentaries. People have been studying the Bible for centuries and have written commentaries. Doesn't mean they're all true. Just type in that verse and say commentary on and give the verse reference. And 50 things will come up. Matthew Henry did a great job in the late 1600s. Matthew Henry commentary. There are many good commentaries about verses in the Bible. Learn to use those. They'll really help you. Any more, Joseph? If you ever wished you'd be able to tell yourself when you were younger, the things you know, oh, I could have saved myself some scars, some broken bones. I could have saved myself some heartache if I had, like the old man said, too soon old, too late smart.
Matthew Sneed on Rumble wants to know how many cabins are going to be in the ark.
So far, we're planning on 10 cabins in the ark, okay? We need everything for them. I mean, simple stuff, electrical stuff, lights, outlets, wiring, toilets, sinks. We just go on donations here, okay? All right, if you want to help. If not, get out of the way. We're going to do it anyway. See you tomorrow, Proverbs 26. Bye-bye.